Hello everyone, Mr. Happy here, and in this video we're going to be going over some information out of a Korean live letter for Final Fantasy XIV. That's right, Korea, which has their own separate servers from the global servers that we play on, had their own live letter with a bunch of translations. I am using x3_starlight's Reddit post in order to go over some of the translations that came out of this, including some ability changes, things going into the cross-roll system, and whatnot. You can read the title of the video. So let's just go down the bullet points one by one. So skills that don't see much use are being removed. The number of skills at 70 will be the same as we have now. This is something we kind of already knew. Abilities like Featherfoot and Feint, while they do have their niche uses, are probably going to see consolidation. You know, they even mentioned the possibility of combining abilities that are less used with the more used abilities in order to make sure that their effects are still there for the job. Now, the first thing that we're ever hearing about changes to the class's jobs or anything is right here. Paladin's Rampart and Dark Knight Shadowskin are going to become the same skill. There's no mention of Warrior's Foresight, and it will be a cross-roll ability for tanks. So basically, whatever they end up calling it, Rampart, Shadowskin, those abilities are being removed from Paladin and Dark Knight, and it's just going to be one cross-roll tank ability that all the tanks have access to. I don't know, I guess just because they have overlapping effects, there's really no point in having each of them having their own skill utilization. It removes them from the individual job, which sort of feigns the ability, like, because you're still going to have these skills. Like, all this changes the way you access the skill, and that all the tanks have access to the skill through the cross-roll system. It doesn't actually change the fact that you're going to use this skill pretty much every time. Thunder 2 and 3 are being removed, and Thunder's potency will become stronger with levels. So it sounds like as you go up, well, that's a good way to remove things. A lot of people thought that's how Stone was going to be consolidated, Thunder was going to be consolidated. It kind of makes sense for it to be consolidated as such. So Thunder 2 and 3 for Black Mages are going to be completely removed. Makes perfect sense to me, based on the way they've described it. As for Enochian, Enochian will become a permanent buff, meaning you will always be able to use Fire 4 unless they decide to change it. That's where their current plans are sitting for Enochian. However, he mentions that a high-skilled Black Mage will still have ways to improve their DPS, whether that's through the new skills they're going to be adding from 60 to 70, or it's going to have something to do with Blizzard 4. We really don't know, but Enochian management will be completely removed through that whole dance of Fire 4, Blizzard 4. Skills that debuff the enemy are not going away and will be adjusted. Yoshi P specifically mentioned Paladin's Rage of Halone and Monk's Dragon Kick, so that throws my theory out the window. Obviously, Dragon Kick has two effects, so who's to say that it could just have the int debuff and not have the blunt debuff, but that's still in speculation theory. More information on what they plan to do with these skills will be shown in a future live letter, so we don't have more information on it. Concerning raid compositions, he feels that after the Astrologian buffs, any combination of healers is currently viable, but that doesn't mean they won't be seeing changes in 4.0. For tanks, they plan to do something about warrior off tanks. Now that's kind of curious, because warrior as an off tank is, I don't even like the term off tank anymore. It just doesn't make sense, because tank swaps, eventually you're the tank. That's just kind of how it is in most fights. You know, it's just a matter of whether you are the one who pulls and whether you're one who doesn't pull, or the one who handles the boss or the ads. At some point you're tanking. That's all it is to me. So I'm curious though, because yes, they are all viable. Yes, White Mage Scholar can do fine. Yes, White Mage Astra can do fine. But of course, like he says, it's not like they're not going to be changing things, because that doesn't change the fact that Scholar and Astro are just, you know, that much better. In 4.0, the adventure need bonus for roulettes will be increasing to encourage players to play tanks healers. You know, that's fine and all, like maybe if you make it tomestones or something, but sometimes players, just because you give them that option, that doesn't mean that they're happy. It just kind of means like, I guess I'll do it, you know. I don't know that that's the best solution, but it's good because tanks and healers are now going to get even more rewards, whether that's gil or tomestones or whatever they end up actually doing. In 4.1, they will be able to create cross-world 24-man parties. Makes sense to have it ready for specifically 4.1 because that's when the Return to Ivalice should be coming out. So, and that's tentative, just like a lot of things nowadays. There are no current plans to introduce an Alliance raid duty roulette. He says they are being run a lot because of Wondrous Tales. That's dumb. That's actually dumb. That's not a good reason to not create a Duty Roulette Alliance raid. You create a Duty Roulette Alliance raid because there's 6 of them in the game currently. You have an Expert Roulette that has 2 dungeons in it. There's no excuse. I will not stand for this answer when it comes to the reason for us not having an alliance raid roulette. Apparently, it's very difficult to increase the number of available chat tabs, but they are working on a large-scale improvement of the chat system with many more features, such as cross-server chat. We touched on this at the what's it called, European Fan Festival. They touched on this, so that's not really too big of news. And they are aware of requests for options to add things such as tattoos and body hair, and that they are, if they were to implement them, it would create more realistic system-wise. It would be more realistic system-wise to make them equipable items rather than options at character creation. That's incredibly strange. That kind of speaks to the way that their code is built, and it's not really a surprise considering that the game was kind of rushed to get out for 2.0, and so a lot of things were consolidated to complete them in a timely fashion right when when they were going from the development of 1.0 into 2.0. That's still a really weird way to describe it. It's almost akin to the question about the creating the different identifications, the IDs for like the glasses versus a headpiece, so you could wear glasses and headpiece at the same time. It's very akin to that, and it looks like that's all they really had time for. But there are a couple of edits down here. Where the guy says, a lot of people are jumping on the whole what the fuck permanent Enochian thing, but please keep in mind there's nowhere near all the changes coming to 4.0. There may be and probably will be additional changes coming to Enochian in Fire 4. Very good point to make. Edit 2, I am a bilingual player and will take responsibility for the accuracy of my translations, but I can't say the same for what is being actually translated because I do these at work and have to go off other people's notes. I'm totally fine with people that would rather wait for an official confirmation to pass judgment on what I've listed here. So basically, just taking responsibility, credibility, good on you, Starlight, but thank you for your efforts all the same. Can't really fault somebody for at least putting an effort in some way. You know what I mean? So that's just a quick little live letter that they did over in Korea. It's very interesting because not only do we get to see some of the changes that are currently planned, such as the permanent Enochian buff Thunder 2 and 3's removal, it gives us an idea of how they are actually consolidating skills and things that we may see. I never thought we'd see Rampart and Shadowskin removed and placed in the cross-roll feature. And that opens up a world of possibilities because any other job that has overlapping ability effects, like, I don't know, I guess the DPS, there's always the possibility somewhere of something being consolidated. Most of the DPS abilities are pretty unique in a sense, but it opens up the possibility of jobs that have similar skills having their jobs thrown in this cross-roll system. You know, we still don't know the fate of Goad. We don't know the fate of Foresight for certain. So there's a lot of questions about what's going to go into this cross-roll feature, and that's a good insight as to things they may do going forward. Thunder 2 and 3 being removed. I wonder if White Mage is going to have Stone 1 eventually power up to 2 and 3. It's a very different skill. And Arrow, same deal. I mean, White Mages, most of them throw up arrows 3, 2, and 1. Most of the time I see it at least in that order. So is that really something you can consolidate? I don't know. And would you if you could, if you just make it so that the game is balanced around the damage of only having one stone ability, one without a slow, and one arrow for one super dot. I don't know if that's the same route they're going to take. There's also no mention of any of the global cooldown abilities other than Fire 4 and potential theory on Blizzard 4 here. Obviously the effects on Halone and Dragon Kick are mentioned, but not what their actual changes will be in terms of rotation. So there's still a lot of questions, and we're going to have a lot of questions over the next several months, but good first insight thanks to this Korean live letter. Thank you again, Starlight, for the loose translation. But anyway, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned for all the latest Final Fantasy XIV news. I'm in the middle of a live stream right now, so I'm going to get back to that. But thank you again for watching, and until next time, take care.